welcome to the first episode of Let's Get Wheel.
My name is Emily, and this is my co-host.
I'm Nina.
So this podcast is just about getting honest and real about our life experience so far, as we are right now students. We're in that era. We're also about to graduate.
Yes.
So very scary stuff. So we just kind of want to talk about that experience so far.
Yeah.
And then we plan on having some guests too. But for now, we just decided to talk about us. Get to know us, the host.
Get some intros going.
Yes.
So our name is Let's Get Wheel because we are getting real about our lives. But also, I'm disabled, so I have 6 wheels underneath me right now. So we're getting wheel. So we wanted to talk about our experiences because we both come from different backgrounds and we're learning a lot, but also we are almost done with college and we want to share what our lives have been like, especially in the past 4 years.
So we first want to talk about our road to applying to college and our journey to applying to college from high school. For high school, I went to Omaha South. It was a very community-based school. I feel like everyone knew each other, even though there was like 3,000 students at the time. Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
I am first generation, and I was also in like a college prep program through Creighton University. It was called Upward Bound, and they had a bunch of first gen people. I think it's run by Trio scholars. So because I joined that college prep program, I think I had a lot of help with applying to college. But it was mostly based on the decision of if I get enough scholarships, then I will go to college. If I don't, then I don't have an option because I don't have the money to go to college. So through that, I did apply to a lot of colleges, but I didn't get the major one that a lot of Omaha students apply for, which is the Buffett. I don't know if you've ever heard of Buffett. Yes. So I applied for the Buffett, and I did not get it. So because of that, I kind of had to take a non-traditional route, which is going to community college first, and then seeing if I wanted to transfer to a 4-year university. So I did go to community college. I went to Metro in Elkhorn, and that's where my major was based. The major I chose was based. And then after that 2 years, I decided I wanted to continue school, and I was in between 3 schools, which is Iowa State, I think. I forgot the name. Iowa State, and UNL and KU. But it was mostly between KU and UNL. But then I thought about it really hard, and I'm like, well, UNL is closer to my family, which is in Omaha. And then I really, like, if UNL had this major, I would go to UNL. But I had to choose UNL because I wanted to go to my major, which is broadcasting, video production, and all that. It's only offered here.
Yeah.
I think it's probably the only school in Nebraska that has that, except for community college. Do you want to talk about yours?
Yeah.
Your road?
So my road to college was pretty different. So my grandma went to school and my mom went to school. So I'm a 3rd-generation college student. My grandma paid for my mom to go to school. And so my mom decided she would pay for me, which is really nice because with my disability, it's really hard for me to get a job. And just I wasn't allowed, or I wasn't accepted to getting grants because my parents made a certain amount of money. But they also it was hard. It's been hard for my parents to pay, and it's just like very stressful. So I knew that I wanted to go to college, and I have always done my nails. And so everyone said that I should get a business degree and then go and get my nail license and then have my own business. So that was my plan starting in middle school. So in my junior year of high school, I started looking for colleges, and I had a few in mind, but UNL was the only one that was fully accessible. So I kind of had to throw the other ones away. And I do really like it here. But also I just like that I can get everywhere, and almost every building has a way to get in. But yeah, so I was a business major for a few years, and I started in 2020. So everything was weird because of COVID, and I wasn't able to go to my classes and stuff. And I was then diagnosed with depression and anxiety. So I failed some classes, and I just really struggled, and I wasn't very good at what I was doing, but I also it was just really hard, and I think mental health had a huge impact on that. So my sophomore year, I took a educational psychology class, and I really enjoyed it. And I've always been into mental health, and I've always been like an advocate for mental health and stuff. And so I thought maybe I'll like think about psychology. And since I was failing business pretty bad, and I just was not good at it, which made it hard to finish, and I really struggled. So after 2 years, I switched my major to psychology, and I am loving it. So my grades went up, my GPA went up, I went on antidepressants, and I'm just like really getting to where I should have been. So I'm actually still graduating in 2 years. So I basically put a 4-year plan of psychology into 2 years. So I just had to take a lot of summer classes, but I'm here and I'm enjoying what I'm doing.
Yay.
Yeah.
It's good that you found your passion.
Yeah.
That even though like when you were young, you were kind of had a
Yeah.
different thing in mind. You were like, well, I'm going to do this for now.
Yeah. Well, I never really like looked into it because everyone was like, oh, you should do business. And I was like, oh, great idea. But I didn't really look into other career paths because I thought, oh, it's set. I'll just do that.
Yeah.
And turns out that econ and accounting just really suck. So I really struggled, but I'm very happy to be where I am now and enjoying college finally.
Yeah, I had a similar thing where when I was little, like middle school, elementary, I just always thought I would be like an interpreter, and that's probably because I was bilingual and English was my second language and Spanish was my first. And it was just like, well, I would help my parents with like these big like things in the mail that they would get, and I would have to translate it for them. And then it just kind of like, I'm like, well, I'll just kind of do this for a living. But then later I got really, really interested into video production, just everything. I would watch the TV news, like I think it was channel 7. Yeah, in Omaha, KTV. I would watch that and I would just like wonder how it looked like behind the scenes. I would watch movies. I would watch TV shows. I'm like, how are they getting this shot, this scene, this whatever? Instead of thinking about the content or was being shown, I was always like, well, how did they do this? So that's how I kind of started to get interested into that. And then I finally had the option in high school where I took a video and film class there, and that teacher, I forgot his name, but he kind of changed my life, and I forgot his name. That's really sad.
Shout out if you're listening.
Shout out to whoever
Love
that
you,
guy is.
but
I can picture him in my head.
Yeah.
I can picture him in my head, but I don't remember his name. I don't even know if he still teaches there. Don't know.
If he does, sir, you're doing a great job.
Yeah, that class, we learned how to edit. Even though I was already editing since I was like 12, but I was editing on iMovie though. I started editing on iMovie like everyone does, I feel like. And then I downloaded like a pirate version of Adobe Premiere on my computer, and I would edit I would just edit random stuff through there. And then finally I got to that class and we had access to After Effects and Adobe Premiere. And then that's where I learned so much from that teacher. And I'm so sad that I forgot his name.
You'll think of it at like 4 a.m.
Probably.
Wake up in the middle of the
that
night.
guy really changed my life. No, but he taught us so much about everything. And I'm like, wow, I actually really do like doing this. And then finally my junior and senior year, they were offering like through like a career building type of career, like service type of thing, where we can like go to a different building and like in the morning of class, and we can go experience different types of careers. So there was like photography, art, video production, and like culinary and stuff like that. So for my junior senior year, I went to that building, and then those professors there, don't know their names. There was 2 professors though. They changed my life too. One of them got me into live production, and I started doing broadcasts. We used to do like mock like TV shows. We would write it, we would produce it, all of it, and then I would do that live. And that's where I found that I liked camera operating. That's where I found that I liked floor directing, which is what I really like to do now. So that professor just really yeah, and then that's how I kind of, after that, I think I just followed that path, and I don't see myself changing that. I don't find interest in doing other stuff.
Yeah, I wish that my high school had those options of like trying different career paths, but also it was a way smaller school.
Hastings.
Yeah, Hastings High.
Hastings High.
And good old Hastings, Nebraska. But yeah, I really wish that I would have had those options, because, I mean, like once a semester we'd have a college fair and you go and you talk to reps, but that was really it. So I really wish that I could have done that, because then I might have found a career path sooner.
Yeah.
But I from the struggles I went through, I am so happy that it happened, because I wouldn't have met the people I know now. So I wouldn't have like the great friends I do. It's just like I probably would have a completely different life. So
yeah,
crazy. I talked a little bit about my first year, but because it was COVID, everything was different. So I didn't really get the best college experience right at the beginning, especially because I'm disabled. I had to go through a lot of hoops, and it was kind of hard finding the right help that I needed. But I found a bunch of my caregivers, mainly through word of mouth. Since UNL is like tied with UNMC, a lot of like nursing students are here on campus. So I found my caregivers, and I ended up like making a really good schedule and a paying system. And my mom actually told me that I should talk about it on the podcast. So, so I learned things like how to keep them scheduled, how to pay them, a bunch of stuff. So my first year was kind of like figuring out how to do that and how to find more people. But I just lived in Selleck in this one little room by myself. So all of my classes were done on Zoom. I mainly was in my room all day, which I think also had a bit to do with like my depression, just because I was in that one little room the whole time, and I didn't make friends because it was hard to meet people. And then my sophomore year, I lived with 2 people, and more things were open. So I feel like my sophomore year was kind of a first for many things. So both my roommates were freshmen, so I kind of just we got to do all of our firsts together. But yeah, my freshman experience was not normal, thanks to COVID.
Yeah, I can't imagine all those classes on Zoom.
Yeah, I also, that's the thing is I don't like going out to classes, especially because when it's cold, my joints tense up and I usually have more pain and stiffness. So being able to just like wake up and go to my desk and do homework and be in class is nice, but that caused me to be a hermit. So I really just like, I think if my first year was going to class every day at a certain time and having a routine, I probably would be that way now. Whereas I'm kind of like, if I don't have an excuse to go out for something, I'm most likely going to be in my room. And it's just kind of like a comfort zone that is a little too comfy.
Yeah. My first year here was very different because I transferred in. But my first year at community college, I was the youngest one there. In my first class, I remember sitting down with my professor Bob Moss. See, I didn't remember his name. He changed my life too.
Sounds like Bob Ross.
Yeah, his name was Bob Moss. That class, my first class there, I had to commute at first. It was an hour commute from Omaha to Elkhorn, and my first class was at 8 a.m. So I was up really early. It was crazy. So yeah, I remember sitting in that class, and everyone around me was so much older than me, which is kind of normal when you go to community college.
Mm-hmm.
And even like in the common areas, it's just like different people, different of all ages, different of everything. I feel like everyone's at a different point of their life. So that first class I think it was video 1. I think that's what it's called. Yeah, and I had a blast at community college. I actually learned more about post-production and pre-production there. And then obviously when I came here, it's all about live production and writing and news writing. This major that I'm in right now is more news-based than the major at the community college, which was more creative, video-based. Like I would be making short films and documentaries over at that school, and then here I'm learning how to write a journalism article, like a profiles, and I'm learning how to write for broadcast news. Very different, but it's good to have those skills, right?
Yeah.
When I first transferred here, I felt like a pressure to kind of like rush those first 2 years that someone would have. Like, they would come in and they would join clubs, they would join other extracurriculars just to get involved in campus and meet people, make friends. So when I first came here, I felt rushed, and I felt like, oh, I don't know anyone here. Like I didn't know anyone from my high school that came here. I didn't know anyone from my community college. I transferred over here, so I just kind of had to put myself out there, and I joined a total of 3 clubs. Now I'm in 4, I think. Yeah, now I'm in 4. And I went to a lot of events, and then that's how I would meet people and stuff. So I kind of felt pressure to have those like first year experiences in my junior year of college.
So when you joined clubs, did you like meet new people and make friends and kind of feel like you weren't so far behind?
Yes, I did meet a lot of people, especially in the academic based. I'm in MBS. And I met a lot of people through there. I joined
What's NBS for those?
Oh, right. Well, it used to be National Broadcasting Society, but we had our name changed. We had our club shut down. We had our name. Like, it was a whole thing. Something about like our parent company or whatever, parent like organization, like wanting us to change our name, and like we like switched orgs. It's a whole thing. But we wanted to keep the acronyms NBS, so we changed it to Nebraska Broadcasting Society. Okay. Yeah, and we do a lot of broadcasting-based projects. Last semester and the semester before that, we did a game show. We produced the whole thing. We wrote it. We directed it. We filmed it. Everything. And then I'm also in exec club of the Marvel Bunch.
Yeah.
Marvel-based clubs. You're in it too.
I am. I love it.
Yes. Do a lot of fun stuff. Not really revolving around Marvel. I think we have a lot of people in that club that are like, just like media in
like
general.
Fandoms.
Yeah, stuff. Like a lot of like the big media consumption, like Harry Potter, Star Wars, DC. We just
sometimes Hunger Games.
Yeah, we do talk about Hunger Games a lot.
Yeah,
it's just like that type of people who consume a lot of media. Yeah. I feel like are in that club
because it started out being like mostly Marvel with a little bit of DC. Yeah. But the people that come every week, we've kind of become like a little family, and we all. I don't think anyone dislikes talking about Star Wars in this club or like the other big fandoms because we all either know about them or enjoy them. And we don't just do like Marvel movies. I love learning about the comics that I didn't know or other like shows, movies, things that I think we all just share what we know. And like for someone like me, I'm like, oh, that fandom sounds fun. Maybe I should look into it.
Yeah, I think it was just named after Marvel because Marvel is kind of the biggest media, I think, in general.
Yeah.
Out of everything. But yeah, it was based on Marvel. Then it kind of expanded.
It
I feel
is
like everyone is like not afraid to show their interest there.
Yes. It's based on Marvel, but I feel like we all kind of go off on tangents, and we all, I feel like, go off on certain characters we really love, and the rest of us are like, oh my god, yes, me too. So we just like, I don't know, we just go off and we spend way too much time talking about things we love and just sharing and, having fun.
Yeah. That's one of the clubs we're both in.
Yes.
And I'm also in film club, which I think right now is not a thing, so.
Yeah, so my caregiver,
counts.
she's on, like, the board, and apparently they're not, you can't watch movies anymore.
Nope.
So you basically go and talk about movies. So really, like, the only people that have been going are the exec board and, like, 2 other people. Because it's just, like, I don't know, they are struggling with it.
Yeah, I think the appeal of that was, like, everyone comes together and watches a film and then they talk about it after. But because they kind of got
like copyright issues.
Copyright law stuff with UNL and whatever. Yeah.
Because I also just, it's kind of sad if you can't watch a movie and then talk about it, like you're just talking about random things and you don't feel like you're really coming together as much.
Or you can like start talking about a movie and then the other person's like, well, I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I went a couple times last semester and the year before, and it was really fun because you could go and really like find different movies that you've never seen or never heard of, and it's just kind of branching out a little and just finding new interests in things that I might have not tried to watch before.
Yeah, I also met a lot of people through that. It's really fun meeting new people through clubs like that.
I've met people that you know through clubs like that that I am now friends with.
Yeah. But
I'm also in another club, Creative Commons. It's more like art-based. It used to be like arts and crafts, but they've kind of moved on this year as like they'll have guest speakers come in and talk about their art, or you can make like digital art as well as this week is like printmaking, a certain type of printmaking. So I'm very excited to go to that. But I've also met some really close friends there, and I just love the vibe of all the art students. So it's really fun to go to Richards and just hang out and see art and just like make art, learn about art. It's just like another way to meet people, which I think also has helped me because I've always had a hard time making friends in college. So just going to a place where we're all there for the same thing and the same interest, and then we can like bond.
Yeah, I think it's cool to go to other buildings that are not your major and just kind of hang around there and see what happens. Like the Johnny Carson building, I like to go in there and just walk around.
Yeah.
And I do see some people I know in there, but that's because they take like one class here, because it's kind of all over-encompassing like video just in general. But I do like going into random major buildings and just chilling there. Yeah.
I also like going to Richards because they almost always have art on the walls, or they have like little cabinets with windows that have like different ceramics and stuff. And it's just really cool to see what other people have been doing with their talent.
Yeah.
And just fun to look at stuff. So obviously I'm disabled, and there's like a place on campus that is services for students with disabilities. So even before I came here, someone hooked me up with them, and they basically have a bunch of accommodations that I can use for my classes and just things that I need that can help me with studying, help me with like test taking, and just accommodations in general. So some of the things are like extended time on tests or flexibility with due dates, things like that, just because I have so many issues and like I never know when something's going to come up. So it's just like really helps me out. When I first came here, they didn't have enough people. Like I didn't really get that much help for a while. I think at the end of my sophomore year, I got an email from Pablo, and he was like, hey, I heard you need help and no one's been helping you. And I was like, hey, yes. And so I had a meeting with him, and he updated my accommodation plan and basically said, like, if any of your professors don't do these for you, tell me and I will fight them for you, because basically, like, legally in the state of Nebraska, they can't turn me down for certain things. So it's really nice to have someone there to fight your battles for you, because sometimes, like, if I tell a professor I need something and they're like, nope, sorry, having someone to be like, you can't legally say that, you need to, like, do better, is just really nice, especially because when I first came here, I had issues with certain professors that were like, nope, you have to do your test today. And I was like, I'm literally in the hospital. Like, so it was really nice when he came along, and he really is really super helpful, really super helpful. And he's just, yeah. So that's, like, really the only resource I've used, but it's been a big help for me.
At UNL, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not really a resource, but just in general, the Oasis building,
What's Oasis?
Oasis. It's the Jackie Gone Multicultural Center. And that building, I feel like it's a safe space, especially because there's a lot of people of color in there. It's based for, it's for people of color to be just a safe space on campus for them. So I like to go in there, like, in between classes. If I walk to the uni and if I'm sitting somewhere, I'm going to sit in the Oasis building. It's just because everyone there kind of understands that we are at a majority white college, you know, especially since we're in Nebraska.
Yes.
I think that we understand that. So I think when we all just kind of chill there, it's very safe.
Yeah.
Another thing I like about UNL is UPC.
Yes.
Yes, I know some people in UPC, and I know they work hard to bring events here, and I think the events they have here, like, they know their audience.
Yeah.
And they, like, know exactly who to bring, like, what to do and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's good that they have, like, educational ones, but also, like, fun ones.
It's really nice, though, like, to get a break from studying and, like, anxiety, be like, oh, this person is coming to talk, and you're like, I've been watching this person for 5 years. Like,
yes,
it's so nice to be like, okay, something fun.
Yeah.
And there have been so many fun things that UPC has brought to the school that all you need is your event pass. Like, you can get in for free.
Yeah.
And we've seen some really cool things, and we've met a lot of cool people along the way. Like, what was her name from Euphoria last year?
Oh, yeah.
She came.
I forgot.
Hey, the mom on Euphoria.
The mom on Euphoria. Yeah.
She came and did, like,
a talk.
A talk and, like, a Q&A, and she was so sweet.
Her name is, I'm, like, Googling it right now.
Start with a K or something.
It's
Nika King.
Yeah, Nika King. She came here.
And
that was my first year here, too.
Yeah, and it was really cool because she just, like, talked about what it was like filming a show that's so dark and deep, and her experience. And we also, like, got to ask her questions, and we took pictures with her at the end. And she was, like, so sweet. But it's like we wouldn't just be able to see her random times. Just the fact that UPC brought her here and we got to, like, listen to her story and stuff like that.
I know that UPC brought a lot of people that I like when I wasn't a student here.
Like Cody.
Like, yeah, they brought Cody Ko, which is someone that we both watch. Yeah, we both watch.
And I didn't know that he was here at the time, and I was, like, so bummed that I didn't get to see him.
Yeah.
But also, Noelle came. So this is a long story. Should we get into it?
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't here. I wasn't a student here when he came. So sad.
Yeah. So my sophomore year, Noelle Miller came, and he did a stand-up show, and it was, like, packed. But luckily we got in here, like, we got there before the doors opened, so we got to see him, and we were in the front row because I am disabled, and so my friends and I get perks because of that. So we sat in the front row, and we got to see his comedy show, and we even, like, kind of, like, bonded a little. Like, he gave me a fist bump on the way out, and it was really cool. So then the next year, Emily and I went to see a show, in Omaha with him, and he had actually remembered me. And so he talked to me during a show, whatever. So cool. And then just like a month or 2 months ago, we saw him again, and we got to meet him and take pictures with him. I would never have met him if it weren't for UPC.
Yeah, that reoccurring of going to each of his shows started
Yeah.
with the UPC event.
Yeah.
That's when he kind of like...
And that's when it hooked me.
That's when he kind of like met you for the first time.
Yeah.
Knew of you. And then after you kept going to his shows, he was like, oh,
Yeah.
she's here again.
Yeah, and he was like, wait, I remember you.
Yeah.
And I was like, hell yeah. So, and now he knows us.
Yeah.
So we together have seen 2 of his shows.
Yes.
And we've made really good friends with his tour manager, Tom. Love Tom.
Yep.
So, and again, it all started because of UPC. Like, it's just crazy that students can get in to see shows like that.
Yeah.
And it's really nice to take a break from studying and tests and stuff.
Yeah, a lot of opportunities are given here.
Yeah.
And
There was-
university in general.
There's also Darren Bousman,
Yes.
the director of the Saw movies.
Yeah, he came here.
Yeah, and he gave a little talk and a Q&A. So, and our friend Kira was like super excited to see him, and so that was like another cool experience. But it's just like, and then Emergency Intercom.
Yes.
Like how long ago? Like a month ago?
Yeah, I've been watching them. I've been following them specifically since I was in middle school, and then I kept watching their podcasts since they started it. Since the trailer came out for their podcast, I like watched that, and then to have them come here out of Nebraska, all places, is so crazy. And then Brittany came too.
Yes, Brittany Broski.
Yes.
That was like another really cool show. But it's like a lot of people that we watch and that we have watched for years.
And we also listen to their podcast.
Yeah, like all of them.
Yeah, I listened to Brittany. I listened to Emergency. We listened to TMG, which is both Noelle and Cody.
And Stretch and Fade
Yes. Stretch and Fade too.
with Noel.
Yes.
I listen literally all the TMG pods, like the whole studio. I love all their pods.
Yeah.
But
it would be a dream for me to work at TMG.
yeah. Oh, and I have an in. But also, like, I am now starting to listen to Emergency Intercom because, first of all, they were on TMG for one episode, but also, like, seeing them live was really cool. So that made me want to, like, get to know them more.
Mm-hmm. Really grateful to UPC.
Yeah, you guys are amazing. Like,
sounds like an ad for UPC.
This episode is sponsored by UPC Nebraska. No, we just
really
love them.
Cool, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like going to all their events.
Yeah. No, I'm like, anytime I see, like, when they post, like, a UPC event on Instagram, I'm like, we have to go.
Yeah.
Like, if we know anything about whoever's coming, it's like, we will be going.
I'm going to be sad when I graduate and I'm still following
Me
them.
too.
And they post, like, a cool event. I'm like, oh, I can't go.
I know. That's so sad. That's like,
Yeah.
if I go to grad school, I would want to come here.
Oh, yeah.
Just for the events.
just for UPC.
Yeah. But I think also being, like, the biggest university in the state, whoever's coming to Nebraska for a college show will be coming here, which is, like, the coolest thing ever. So we took my senior pictures today.
Yeah, we did.
Which was crazy. I had an incomplete for a class from last semester for medical reasons, and just like a lot has happened in the past few years. So I took an incomplete, and I was just going to finish it this semester. So I finished it this week, and I got a passing grade. So all I have to finish are the classes I'm in right now. And then I'm going to graduate, which is crazy.
Yep.
But
And,
yeah.
Yeah, I don't graduate till the summer.
That's still soon.
Yeah, I'm only taking a 3-credit class during the summer. Yeah, I could have graduated this semester.
Yeah.
But stuff happened, you know. So yeah, I have to wait till summer to graduate. But that's still really soon, actually.
It is.
I
So-
feel like I have too much time. I'm like, oh no, it's actually like really soon.
How long is your class? Like 8 weeks or like?
I think it's
8 weeks?
I think either 5 or 8.
Okay.
But yeah, August.
Okay.
It's in August. I know my graduation's in August.
That's still, though, that's pretty soon. That's in a few months.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
The fact that I am graduating in like just over 4 weeks is so scary. just the idea of being an adult and not being in school anymore. Like, I've been in school all my life, and the fact that now it's like actually going to be over with is terrifying.
Yeah. I find it scary, but I'm also like, I'm ready to get out of school. I
Yeah.
feel like I've been in school for 5 years, even though I haven't.
Yeah.
For like college, like 5 years. But it feels like that because I took a gap year in between my sophomore year and my junior year. That year, I decided I was just going to come to UNL after my sophomore year, but because it was COVID,
Mm-hmm.
I felt like I was robbed out of experience.
Yeah.
Like the capstone class of my associate's degree at Metro was supposed to be our class would produce, write, and just produce all in general a show. And it would go live on cable television over there at Metro. So for other people, like they did like game shows, they did like news shows and stuff. And because that year turned into COVID, like my last semester is COVID started, I was robbed out of that experience, and
Yeah.
I didn't get to do what I've been wanting to do for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Like I really like producing and stuff, so I was unable to get through that. So I was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna take a gap year between my sophomore and junior year, and maybe COVID will be over by then. By the time I came here, and it kind of was, kind of not really, but yeah.
The pandemic wasn't so big.
Yeah, I feel like that's when it started kind of dying down.
Yeah.
So yeah, it feels like it feels like I've been in school for 5 years, even though it's been 4 years.
Yeah.
Just there's like that big thing in the middle, and I'm just kind of ready to get out and start working.
I'm so ready to like not have to worry about assignments and tests and like just being able to be gone for the day and like working. But then the second I get home, I don't have to worry about it. I'm just like so excited for that. I'm not, however, excited to pay off my student loans and have to have like a 9 to 5 because that's scary.
Yeah.
Like having to pay rent, living on my own. Like who told me I was allowed to take care of myself? That I could like live on my own and take care of myself? That's so scary.
Mm-hmm.
Like I still feel like I'm 16 sometimes.
Yeah. I'm excited to work.
Yeah.
I feel like that's something that not a lot of people say, especially right now. Like, I'm excited to have a routine, a job, even though depending on the job I get, it's most likely going to be long production hours, like long. But that like excites me a bit. I don't know.
I am excited to work. The only thing is to be, because I want to do counseling, but I'm going to have to get my master's in order to be like a certified counselor. And I'm going to take a gap year and kind of figure out what I want to do for my master's and also kind of like how am I going to pay for it. So I am looking for a job right now, but I won't be able, I'm like going to have to get on work, but I won't be able to do what I want to do for another like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
Because I wish I could just get out and start like doing counseling and making people feel better. But I know that like whatever job I get now, it's going to be more of like a office job or working under a counselor, which would be really good experience. It's just like finding a job and finding experience before I have my certification is just like a little harder.
Yeah. I also feel like I'm going to have to, depending on what I want to do, I'm going to have to move to LA, which I don't want to do. I want to stay away from LA as much as possible. I would like to go to Texas. That's where a lot of live production, I think, has moved, especially in the last few years. So I would like to go there and work those long production hours.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm excited.
Yeah. Well, you're really good at like production, camera work, like all that kind of stuff. So I feel like you know what you're doing. You just need to like get out there and do it.
Yeah.
So that's exciting.
I feel like you know what you're doing too.
I just don't have the qualifications.
Yeah.
But I mean, I love like when my friends come to me for advice or just like this thing I'm struggling with, like I just want to talk about it. That is like my favorite thing to do and just like be there for people. But however, getting paid to do that, I need some more schooling.
Yeah.
So it's just like I'm done, but I'm not done after this month. So.
And you want to stay in
Yeah, because
Nebraska.
yeah, I don't want to, but I feel like that's what's going to end up happening.
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot of family in Omaha, and I feel like I'll have more options and just like more opportunities and stuff when I'm there. So I'm guessing that's where I'll go, because I like the size of Lincoln, but I don't really know that many people here, like outside of college. It's just like if something happened, I like to know that like I will have a bunch of family to be able to support me or help me with things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to go back to Hastings. Sorry to Hastings, but it's really not my place.
Yeah. I also feel like I don't know anyone here except for people in
Yeah.
and from UNL.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also think it's like it's sad to say, but the people that you hang out with in college, you might not hang out with the rest of your life,
Yeah.
which is so sad, but that's just kind of how it works.
There's just like less opportunity too. It's
Yeah.
like so easy for me just to be like, hey, let's meet here.
Yeah.
And they're already on campus because, you know, and I feel like that's not going to be an option anymore.
So like when you come to college for 4 years or so, you're around those people constantly. And then once you're done, you kind of like go on your own way. And I feel like it's sad, but you're all going to go separate ways, which I would love to like. I've made such good friends here, and it's sad. Like my best friend Avery, she is now back in Hastings, and it's just like I feel like once I move to Omaha, we're going to be even further apart. And I feel like every time I go home, I'm like, we need to get lunch at some point, but we don't really have the time, or it's just harder to get together. And then we don't talk as much, which is really sad. But especially like if I go to Omaha, I have a lot of family there, but I think it's hard to think about how I'm going to have to make friends while I'm there.
Yeah.
And I have to kind of not say goodbye, but I kind of have to let go of the friends I have here.
Yeah. I feel like it's harder to make friends too, that you don't have something like in common like college.
Yeah, because you can make like work friends.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's kind of like,
how do you make friends like outside of that?
Because like what if you start working in like an office or something and you hate everyone you work with? Like where else do you meet people?
Mm-hmm.
That's like really hard.
Yeah.
But in college, you have like thousands of people on one piece of land, basically, and it's just easier to meet people here.
Yeah, you have things in common.
Yeah. Like Marvel Club, like literally we both like things and we go to a club specifically for that.
Yes.
There's not really that in adulthood. There should be, but there's not. I feel like the only thing like that is church.
Yeah, religion.
Yeah.
Or, yeah, just religion.
Just religion. And as someone who's not religious, it's just kind of like, how do I make friends when I'm an adult?
Yeah, hard.
Yeah. And I think when I get to that point, I might go back to my ways of being a hermit. And I will only see the people that I either are related to or that I work with, which is really sad.
I'm scared for that too.
Mm-hmm.
So a recurring segment we kind of want to have is Media of the Week, which is us basically talking about media, TV show, film, song, music that we are kind of like obsessed with or are just how we have in a loop for the week or for whatever, just currently in time.
Yeah.
So my media is I'm started watching The Bear.
Oh, that's such a good show.
Yes, I just got done with season 1 and I'm starting season 2. And I just feel like that show's writing is so good. The dialogue and everything. And I just love the way they kind of also portray like anxiety.
Yeah.
And just that like imagery to like a bear. Like,
yeah.
Because the main character kind of has that like reflection to that and stuff. And I really think they did a good job of showing that.
There's also, I don't know what has happened. I don't want to spoil anything, but there gets to a point where they have like a family in the episode. Like you get to see more of the background and everything, and it is just like crazy. And the acting is so good, and you really start to see like the struggles they go through, like the mental health, like everything. It's pretty dark stuff that you have to learn, but also the actors are so good at making it seem so real.
Yeah, and I also feel like it shows a good I don't know if it's like an accurate like kind of depiction of what a kitchen is actually like.
Yeah.
But it's just chaos
It
every
is.
time. And I kind of relate to that too, because when I'm in Nightly, that production gets chaotic like that too. And I'm like, wow, it gets crazy everywhere. I think where there's like a lot of high stakes and high pressure, like I kind of relate to that type of like very like adrenaline stressful space.
Yeah. Anytime I go behind you, whenever you're doing something, my first thought is to be like, behind!
Yeah.
Just because they say that a lot in the show, and
Yeah.
I just like, it's so drilled into me now from how much I've watched it.
Mm-hmm.
But it is a really good show.
Yeah. Really good. What's your
What
media?
is my media? Talking about like Brittany Broski, but that's not. I could talk about how I just like rewatched all of the Cody and Noelle do, especially like the drunk cooking,
Yes.
because that's a lot of like chaos, and it really, I watched it like a couple in one night, and I just like laughed so hard my stomach hurt, and it's just like, I don't know, I've just been rewatching like old videos of YouTubers that I love, and it's just like making me laugh so hard.
Yeah. I feel like that's very comforting.
If I'm like feeling down or stressed, just watching like Cody and Noelle like play with knives when they can't see anything, or every time they go to do a high five and they miss. But it's also just kind of nostalgic watching videos from like 4 years ago. Just the space that I was in at the time. It's just like nostalgic.
Yeah, I do that too when I rewatch old podcasts. Like if
Yeah.
I'm like caught up with all my I like listened to so many podcasts.
Yeah.
I can't name them all right now. Rotten Mango, which is Stephanie Sue's like true crime podcast. Brittany, Team G, Stretch and Fade, Emergency Intercom. I watched the Group podcast. Sometimes I watch Trisha's Just Trish podcast. Just a lot of like, also just random episodes of other ones. I know you listen to Are We Still Friends?
Yeah, so I do TMG, Stretch and Fade. Oh my god. Insanely Chill, that's Cody's. And then Brooke and Connor make a podcast. So literally all of like the TMG Studios pods are my favorite. And then I do Kelsey's Circle Time, Are We Still Friends, Brittany's. I'm trying to think, I feel like there's more. Those are like my main ones.
Yeah.
And I started Are We Still Friends after like episode like 90 or something. So if I'm all caught up, I like to catch up on those. Or like there was an episode of The Broski Report, and all I saw was Timothy Chalamet on it. And I was like, it was from Dune 2. And I haven't seen that yet. So I was like, I can't watch this in case I get a spoiler. So now that I know that that's not, there's no spoilers in there, I'm like, I watch that, or any of my pods that I need to get caught up on, or if I'm all caught up, I watch old ones.
Yeah. We're always listening to something, I feel like.
I know.
It's a lot of podcasts.
Yeah. I love a good podcast, though, because it's like you can do other things while you're listening and stuff, and you still get the gist of it. But at the same time, like, you can watch, and it's not boring at all.
Yeah. I always need something. I always need to be listening to something. Can't be alone with my thoughts. Anyways, yeah, it's very comforting to watch those rewatch old podcasts that you, or just videos in general that you find funny, because it's very comforting.
Yeah.
So that's your media.
That is.
Any music?
Hosier came out with a new album like a few weeks ago. The only thing is I love the new one, Too Sweet or something. I love that song, but the fact that it's been on my For You page constantly is I'm starting to get tired of the song. I've only listened to the full song like 3 times, and I'm already like tired of it, which sucks because it's such a good song.
You've seen him live.
I am in August. I'm so excited because I've only been to 2 concerts in my whole life. One of them was at the Nebraska State Fair when I was like 10. The other one was Duckworth at the homecoming concert.
Hosted by UPC.
Hosted by UPC.
Of course.
I swear we're not sponsored, but we just love them. But yeah, that, and those are the only 2 concerts I've ever been because no one really took me to concerts. So one of our friends was
and
like...
also no one comes here.
I Yeah, exactly.
Comes to Nebraska.
Yeah, I mean, people do come to Omaha, but growing up 3 hours away from Omaha, it was kind of like a don't want to drive all the way there for one night and pay for an expensive concert or whatever. So my friend was like, our friend was like, hey, do you guys want to go see Hosier in August? And we're like, I thought his tour, like, they weren't coming here. And they're like, no, it's coming here in August, like, in Lincoln, let's go. And I was like, buy me 2 tickets. Like, I will be there.
Yeah.
So for the first concert that I've ever bought tickets to go see, it's, like, perfect because Hosier's, like, one of my favorite artists ever.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited.
I unfortunately don't listen to him, so.
Yeah.
I'm not going with you guys.
I love him. Like, I feel like, so he has, like, 3, like, big albums. And they're, like, completely different. Like, the 3 most popular albums are, like, different styles, but they all are so good. So I usually, like, the first album, I usually play, like, on repeat. But I don't have, like, a song that... I also love my Fleetwood Mac.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever I don't know what to listen to, I listen to them. But I don't have any, like, songs at the moment that I'm crazy about.
I have been having Future and Metro Boomin's album on loop, and I really like the song that they have with Cardi. So that's the song I've been having on loop the whole time. I do listen to it a lot when I'm trying to, like, lock in or focus.
Yeah.
Whenever, like, I'm about to do something. When I was taking your senior pictures today, I was listening to Cardi and
Nice.
that album because, yeah, it gets me focused.
We have very different styles of music
We do.
that we listen to. So I feel like a lot of songs that you say, I'm like, never heard it in my life. I came from a musical family, so, like, my mom and my grandma and my aunt were all music majors in college. And my aunt and my grandma were, like, music teachers for their whole lives. So we always, like, but our music and stuff was all classic. So, like, I was in choir all throughout school. My parents are very big in the church choir because they love doing that. Yeah, so we always, like, love music, but I never got into, like, rap or anything. Except for, like, a few.
Yeah.
But not much.
Yeah, all my music taste comes from, like, the internet, I think. Like, everything that my dad or my mom doesn't really even listen to music. If my dad, like, puts on, I don't listen to that at all.
Mm-hmm.
So I did get a lot of my music taste from the internet, like, just growing up. And then now I think it's the internet, and also my sister influences a lot of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she listens to a lot of breakcore and stuff, so I started listening to that. So, yeah, it's very just sibling and then internet.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, I do get a lot from Lydia, my sibling, because they have, like, good music, and they also listen to a lot of, like, new stuff, or they just, like, find really cool songs and stuff. So I kind of get into those, but I just love, like, I don't know if folk is the right, like, anything similar to, like, Fleetwood Mac. I just love that style of music, and it's just, like, so chill. And a lot of things from, like, the 60s through the 80s I really like. But it's kind of like what my dad grew up with, but things that he didn't like when he grew up. So it's just, like, I don't know. I don't even know where I get my style. But Lydia definitely influenced it, like, when I was in, like, middle school and high school.
So that was our first episode of our podcast, Let's Get Real.
Yeah.
Thank you to everyone who listened or watched. I hope you enjoyed.
Yeah.
For future episodes, we'll hopefully have some guests. We'll have guests.
Yes.
We'll have guests.
Yeah.
And
Something that
then-
we're very excited for.
Yes, I feel like it's going to be really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, like, we'll learn a lot from our guests.
Yeah.
Because they also have a different viewpoint and things like that.
Yeah.
Yay!
Yeah. Bye.
Bye!